Hello there, my name is Zach Golden, and this is the director's commentary of our new fan film, Star Wars The Foretelling, a Jedi Fallen Order Story. So we open up with a shot of Glian's Elm as the Mantis flies toward the planet. It touches down. Cal Kestis is the first one to leave the ship. Essentially, he's been reached out by this mysterious Jedi calling him to Glian's Elm, and that's how he finds him in the first place. And Seer Junda warns him, saying that to be careful because 6 years in isolation can do things to a person on a mental level. And Cal Kestis, being the noble Jedi Knight that he is, counters with the Force as a Jedi's ally. A Jedi is never alone. So he sets out on this mission, and when he finds Zen Utaru, if you look at their surroundings, they're in the middle of this massive open field. Zen Utaru more than likely left his home there on that island to meet Cal Kestis there in that spot. Zen Utaru explains that when his master died trying to apprehend Dooku on Geonosis all those years ago, they knighted Zen Utaru. That's in reference to Coleman Trebor, as seen in the Petronaki Arena in Attack of the Clones. That was Zen Utaru's master. Now, Zen is a special Jedi because he has the unique ability of seeing things before they happen. For Zen, even though he's not nearly as powerful as Anakin Skywalker, he's not the chosen one by any right, Zen is still very powerful, enough so that he was able to focus his abilities on Glian's Elm and see the events of the original trilogy. He sees the weapons the size of moons, the Death Star. He sees the Empire crumble. And lastly, he says, I've seen the last Jedi save the galaxy. And for Cal Kestis to hear this, you think of all the struggles that Cal has been through after the events of the game Jedi Fallen Order. He's encountered Inquisitors. He's fought the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Vader himself. He's had to fight so hard at such a young age, at 17 years old, and there just seems to be no hope for the galaxy, especially when he decides to trust in the Force and to destroy the holocron containing the list of Force-sensitive younglings. Cal Kestis is in a place where he needs hope, and for Zen Utaru to tell him that he's seen the Empire crumble, he's seen the Death Stars being destroyed, and he's seen the last Jedi save the galaxy. For Cal to hear this is a big deal. And when he responds saying, "We win," it's almost like he doesn't believe it. Zen says, "No, we don't win this thing." But he does. And he is a direct reference to Luke Skywalker himself. Now, Zen Utaru doesn't know the name of Luke Skywalker. He has no specific knowledge of who Luke is, where he's from. All that he knows is that there is a Jedi that is going to be the only one left, and he is the one who saves the galaxy. Cal hears this. I can't understand this, but the fact remains is that you're a Jedi, I'm a Jedi, we need to work together if we're going to fight against the Empire. If he knows who this savior is, Zen is obligated to join the crew and help them find this person. And Zen says very specifically, he says, it's because I know who saves the galaxy that I tell you no, and that I tell you you're staying here. This is a major turning point in the fan film, because what happens is Zen exposes his motives, that the reason why he's been on this island for 6 years is because he feels like he has to be on this island. He cannot conflict with the Galactic Civil War. He can't conflict with the balance of the light side and the dark side of the Force. He has to completely step away from that because he understands that ultimately everything is going to pan out the way it should. And he takes it a step further when he tells Cal that not only am I staying on this island, but you are too. and obviously Cal is not completely on board with this. And we see just how driven and confident and sure that Zen Utaru is of the future that he's been seeing. He's so confident that this is the truth, that what he is seeing is fact, and he is not going to budge. and he's warning Cal, saying if he continues to fight this war, if he continues to stir the pot, that he could be dooming the future forever. It's almost like in his head he believes that if Cal survives, if Cal stays alive long enough, and he continues to fight this battle, the future and the timeline of the Skywalker saga is going to shift in ways that could very well end up being worse. And Cal, being the driven Jedi Knight that he is, he feels this sense of responsibility, and he tells Zen one last time, I'm not staying. I have a responsibility as a Jedi Knight to preserve peace, to fight for justice, and to preserve the foundations that once was the Republic. Zen Utaru, a full-fledged Jedi Knight that's fought the Clone Wars, that has survived the Purge. As far as age is concerned, he's well into his 20s, almost 30s. It's now his responsibility to make sure that Cal doesn't leave this planet. And if Cal doesn't want to stay, then drastic measures have to be taken. And he draws his lightsaber and he comes at Cal, and they fall into a lightsaber duel. And Cal asks him, like, what in the world are you doing? We're Jedi, we are brothers. And Zen says he's protecting the future, and that not even the Jedi can stop him from doing what he believes is right. And so there's this unorthodox, this backwards view of the Jedi and the balance of morality that comes into play while these two are fighting. They're locking weapons, and he swings at Cal, and Cal catches his saber. And if you know in the game, Cal Kestis has an ability called psychometry. Essentially what this allows is you can reach out into the Force and see past events that are associated with the objects that you touch. And we hear these voices of other Jedi reaching out to Zen, and he's clearly in this state of emotional distress. And you hear the voices of Zat and Katuni from Star Wars The Clone Wars, the Gathering episodes, if you remember those. He hears their voices. He hears Tara Sanubi, also a Clone Wars episode. And you also hear Coleman Kaj, which was a Jedi counselor that we never get any kind of confirmation if he survived the Purge or not. So we hear those four voices along with two other random Jedi voices. And they're all just begging Zen to talk to them. Like, open up, tell us what's going on. Like, we can sense a disturbance within you. And it gets to the point where Zen, weighed down by this burden that he feels like he has to carry, he draws his lightsaber and he kills all of those Jedi, all 6 of them. And when Cal Kestis pulls away from the vision and he realizes what Zen Utaru's lightsaber has done, what Zen Utaru has done, Cal is now seeing that this Jedi Knight has taken the lives of other Jedi because he believes that he has to. And he asks him what he's done, and Zen Utaru says, believe me, I tried to reason with them. And he tries to come up with these excuses that, you know, if you knew what the future held, you would understand. Cal Kestis lets him have it. And one of the major points that Cal brings up is Obi-Wan Kenobi's message to all the surviving Jedi, to trust in the Force, to persevere, to have faith and trust in your relationships, to bring people together, that all for the hope that a new savior will emerge. And it's clear that in everything that Zen Utaru has experienced, he's lost the faith. He has lost his trust in the Force, and he's become a faded Jedi. He's not the Jedi that he should be. You could never say that Zen Utaru is a Sith Lord. You could never say that he's a Dark Jedi or even a Gray Jedi. He is a full-fledged 100% Jedi Knight. But his problem was, like many other Jedi during the prequel era, is that they lost sight of their trust in the Force and started leaning on the material things like the Republic, the Clone Army, their own strengths. How can they fight to survive the Clone Wars, to win the next battle that comes their way? And like Zen, even though he can see so far into the future, he's blinded by the fact that the Force is always in control, that the Force always decides the fate of everyone who is alive. And Cal Kestis brings up that point that, I had that holocron in my hand, the names of dozens of Force sensitives across the galaxy, that I was going to save the Jedi. I could have done it. But he realized in the game, that he is not the master of these children, the lives of the children. He's not the master of their lives. He can't control them. Those aren't his children to manipulate. If the Force wants them to be nourished and to be trained up as a Jedi, the Force will allow it to happen eventually. Good will always conquer. And that was Cal's point to Zen, was that you can't control the future, because ultimately the Force is going to decide the next move that has to be made in order for balance to be maintained. If you just watch the events of the Skywalker saga, everything that plays out, good and bad, everything played out exactly the way it should have been, so that the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, can bring balance to the Force for eternity. And Zen has lost sight of this. He is a fated Jedi, and he has lost sight of the faith regardless of the things that he's seen. Cal proves himself to be the perfect Jedi because regardless of the mistakes that Zen Utaru has made, Cal reaches out to Zen and he says, just come back with me. We'll forget everything that transpired here on Glian's Elm. You join us, you have a new chance to be better than who you were yesterday, and we can move forward from this. Zen draws his lightsaber, he tells Cal no, and he comes at him. He's just lashing at him. Cal has to make a choice. Now, this is a very difficult choice for Cal because we have never seen him do this before since we've gotten to know the character. And he's in a position where if he doesn't kill Zen Utaru, then he's dead with hardly any repercussions, because Zen is just going to be on his own on that island all over again. And he understands that if the galaxy has any hope of being just a little bit brighter, he has to kill Zen. It's an eye-opener for Zen because, you have the Emperor's line in Return of the Jedi, only now at the end do you understand. And it's so true, because only now at the end of the film, at the end of Zen's life, does he finally understand the mistakes that he's made. The Force isn't an object that you control. It controls all living things. It brings people together. It binds the galaxy. It is so much more than being able to lift objects or to see into the future. And Cal asks him one last time, do you really think that there's only going to be one Jedi left? That's the only way that this is going to work? And instead of planting his feet, instead of being stubborn and prideful and confident, we see a broken and redeemed Zen Utaru in his final moments, where he finishes Obi-Wan Kenobi's message by saying, I believe a new hope will emerge. And in that moment, Zen Utaru dies. And it's just a beautiful picture of the respect between brothers, a respect between Jedi, and that regardless of anybody's mistakes, there's always hope for redemption. The irony is that Zen Utaru gets what he wants. There's one less Jedi in the galaxy now. We get a post-credits scene at the end of the fan film that reveals a mysterious Mandalorian that we've never seen before. And he shows up at Zen's corpse, and he picks up his lightsaber and he checks to see if the Kyber crystal is still in there, and it is. And he reaches out to the guy that he's following. And we get names tossed out like Barton Jessic and Phelan Scarata, and it's all just so weird and mysterious. And if you don't recognize those names, those are names that come directly from Legends. Barton Jessic is a Jedi survivor himself who survived Order 66, and he ultimately joins up with the Scarata clan, which is a group of Mandalorians that took in clones who didn't follow Order 66. But that's the story of the Foretelling. It's a reminder of the importance of Luke Skywalker. It's a reminder of how important it is to trust in that greater power. The Foretelling is a story about faith. It's a story about trust. And that was my approach when writing the story. I'm a Christian. I go to West Bradenton Baptist Church. And a lot of the attributes of Jedi apply to similar attributes of the Christian faith as well. And I wanted to explore some of that spirituality in the Foretelling. And Zen Utaru is the example of what a lost Christian looks like. Someone who has the faith, who is genuinely a follower of Jesus Christ, and yet they are not living out the life that they should be. They're still sinning. They're still going out and doing bad things like everybody else does every single day. But regardless, they still are saved. They still have salvation. And it's that story of how people who share that same faith can build each other up, can redeem each other. That fellowship is such a strong thing, and that's what that's the story I wanted to tell in the Foretelling. And one of the ways I really wanted to kind of display this character attribute is Zen's lightsaber. If you notice, his lightsaber is a very faded green color, which is just a testament of the fact that his faith in the Force has faded. And then you see Cal, who just has that bold blue color of his lightsaber, which just is a testament of how true of a Jedi he is, and that nobody is too far gone, as we've seen with Darth Vader, that his son brings the light back out of him. Cal does the same thing for Zen, that there was always a Jedi deep down in there somewhere, and that nobody is too far gone. And relationships are built on fellowship and trust and faith in one another. And that is what the Foretelling is all about.